The crowd in the Vethra docking bay went silent the moment Rexer entered. That was how it always was. That was how it was supposed to be. Rexer was 7 feet of dense, layered muscle wrapped in a hide the color of volcanic rock. His species, the Gorvok, had spent 4 million years evolving on a world with triple Earth's gravity, where apex predators grew to the size of buildings and the weakest creatures died before their third sunrise. Rexer had fought his way to alpha status before his 30th year. He carried 37 ritual scars, each one a story ending in his enemy's silence. When he walked through a room, even Gorvok elders stepped aside. So when the new human representative was assigned to his cargo convoy, assigned, like an afterthought, like luggage, he had assumed she would understand her place within the first hour. He had given her until the second. Mara Ellison dropped her single duffel bag on the floor of the briefing room and looked around with the calm, evaluating gaze of someone doing a hotel room inspection. She was, by Gorvok standards, absurdly small. By any standards, really. 5'6", lean muscle under a worn gray jacket, dark hair pulled back in a messy tie. She had the particular stillness of someone who had learned to conserve energy a long time ago and never stopped. The convoy's first officer, a 4-armed Theshan named Corvu, watched her with barely concealed fascination. He had worked with humans before. He knew what the Gorvok did not. He had tried to warn Rexer. Rexer had not been interested in warnings. It happened on the 3rd day of transit, in the cargo hold. Rexer had come down to assert the convoy hierarchy, a ritual he performed with every new crew member. Simple, efficient, effective. He would loom. He would display. The new member would posture or they would submit. Either way, a line would be drawn. He found Mara Ellison sitting on a crate, eating something out of a silver pouch and reading on a small handheld device. She did not look up when he entered. She did not look up when his footsteps made the deck plating ring. She did not look up when his shadow fell across her. Rexer stopped 2 meters away and drew himself to full height. "Human," he said. His voice was a subsonic roll that made the bolts in the crate she sat on rattle. "This hold is under my authority. You will learn to acknowledge my presence." Mara turned a page. "I acknowledged it," she said. "I just didn't react to it." Rexer's jaw tightened. He was not accustomed to parsing that kind of sentence. "You did not rise." "I'm eating." "You did not make eye contact." "I'm reading." The silence that followed had a particular texture to it. Corvu, watching from the entrance hatch, quietly pressed himself against the wall. Rexer stepped forward. The full display now, shoulders broad, posture open, weight shifted forward, a posture that had cowed bigger creatures than this human on 5 different worlds. His voice dropped into the register that his species used specifically to trigger the fear response in prey animals. He bellowed. It was not a word. It did not need to be. It was a frequency, a declaration, a wall of sound and presence that had broken composure in creatures 3 times Mara Ellison's mass. The silver pouch crinkled. Mara set down her reader, slowly, with the deliberate patience of someone who has decided to deal with an interruption. She rolled her neck, one side, then the other, the joints popping audibly in the sudden quiet. She looked up at Rexer for the first time. She smiled. It was not a nervous smile. It was not a submissive smile. It was the smile of someone who had just been handed a mildly interesting problem. "Okay," she said. "You've got good lung capacity. Impressive resonance. You've been working on that." Rexer stared at her. "The forward weight shift is good," she continued, in the tone of a trainer offering feedback. "Adds visual mass. But you telegraphed it too early. If I were actually afraid of you, I'd have had 3 seconds to react before you committed." She tilted her head. "On my homeworld, 3 seconds is a long time." "Your homeworld," Rexer said, slowly. "Earth." She said it like it explained everything. "Gravity's lower than yours, but the things that lived there before we showed up didn't care. We didn't get to be scared and slow. We had to pick one. She picked up her reader again. We picked slow. You are prey class, Rexer said. The words felt strange in his mouth, an argument he was having with himself. Your species has no natural defenses. No claws, no armor, minimal mass. We have something better. She turned another page without looking up. We noticed that every creature bigger than us had to sleep sometime. And we're the only ones who figured out how to use that. Corvo made a very small sound from the doorway. He covered it with a cough. Rexer's eyebridge lowered. You are threatening me. I'm really not. She finally looked up again, and there was something in her expression now, not coldness, not aggression, just a kind of settled, bedrock patience. The kind that didn't need to perform itself. I'm explaining why I didn't flinch. I've been in situations where flinching gets you killed. You learn to stop doing it. The noise, the size, I've seen bigger. I've been responsible for things that didn't survive bigger. She paused. I don't want a conflict with you, Rexer. I want to do my job and get this convoy through the Keshri corridor without losing a single crate. But I'm not going to perform fear I don't feel. That wouldn't be honest, and it wouldn't be useful. The hold was very quiet. Rexer stood at full height for another 3 seconds. Then, almost without deciding to, he shifted his weight back. The display posture dissolved. He was still enormous. He was still scarred and weathered and built like something that ate mountains for sport. But he was standing differently now. The Keshri corridor has interdiction risk, he said finally. 3 ambushes in the last cycle. I know. I read the route reports. She held up the handheld device briefly. I flagged 2 vectors they've been cycling through. If we alter our entry angle by 11 degrees and run quiet for the first 6 hours, we pass through their pattern window while they're repositioning. She set the device down. I was going to bring it to the briefing tonight, but since you're here. She walked him through it. There, in the cargo hold, standing next to a crate she'd been sitting on, pointing at a handheld screen with one finger. Calm, precise, methodical. Rexer listened. He asked 2 questions. They were good questions, and she answered them without hesitation. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Corvu said humans were difficult to calibrate, he said. Corvu's smart. He said your threat-to-mass ratio does not follow expected curves. She smiled again, smaller this time. We're outliers. We evolved in a place that didn't give us the option of being anything else. The planet wanted us dead from the first day. We just kept being rude about it. She picked up her food pouch again. The corridor plan. Is it approved? Rexer looked at her for a long moment. 7 feet of alpha, of ritual scar and volcanic hide and 4 million years of apex evolution. He had broken the composure of creatures that ate starships. He had never had a conversation quite like this one. It is approved, he said. He turned and walked out of the hold. Corvu fell into step beside him, saying nothing, his 4 arms folded with elaborate innocence. Not a word, Rexer said. I said nothing. You are thinking words. All I'm thinking, Corvu said, carefully, is that you asked me last week what makes humans dangerous. And I didn't have a short answer. He paused at the hatch. I think you have one now. Rexer said nothing. Behind them, in the cargo hold, Mara Ellison finished her meal, set down the pouch neatly, picked up her reader, and kept reading. The convoy altered its entry angle by 11 degrees. They passed through the Keshri corridor without incident. Not a single crate was lost. Weeks later, in a Gorvok officer's report filed to the Vethra Transit Authority, under the field labeled Crew Assessment. Human liaison, effective. Do not underestimate. Recommend assignment to high-risk routes. Note, does not respond to standard dominance protocols. Adapt accordingly. Below that, in a different hand, someone had added. They never do.